Hey, what's up? This is Casey with SMW Tint Kits. We're going to be showing you today how to install tint on roll-up windows. Now that we've set our tint patterns aside after heat shrinking, we're going to move on to prepping the inside of this window. Make sure you have your clean microfiber, which is available on the website, as well as our straight razor blades. So we start by rolling it down about 3 or 4 inches. You can see this gap here. Now what we do is we're trying to get this as clean as possible, because once we peel that protective liner off the tint, there's no going back. So we're gonna get everything nice and clean. We're gonna spray our slip solution all over this glass. Now, anywhere the tint may touch is what we wanna clean. You wanna be excessive at this part. The cleaner you get it, the better the quality. I'm gonna wipe off the door panel. I'm gonna wipe off the pillars. I'm going to wipe off the top of this glass. That gets really dirty on vehicles. Make sure you get this top edge. Now, we're going to roll the window all the way down. We're going to take our bottle with our slip solution and we're going to spray into the gaskets. Now that we've got the gaskets wet, we're going to take our hard card. We're going to wrap it in the microfiber and we're going to insert it into the gaskets. Run them up and down until you see no more dirt or debris. Now we know our top edge, the door panel, and the gaskets are clean. We're going to move on to cleaning the glass. Now you roll your window back up, still leaving about a 2.5 to 3 inch gap. Make sure there's slip solution on there. And we're going to take our razor blade. You always want to make sure that you have a nice sharp razor blade. You don't want to use something that's old and rusty. Now we're going to start holding it at a pretty steep angle. You don't want to be at 90 degrees. And we're going to start with that top edge. Scraping with the razor blade, it's not going to scratch your glass. And now we're going to start moving everything down. You're going to want to rub all of that water and slip solution down into the bottom of the gasket. Now it's crucial to use a razor blade for multiple reasons. On newer cars, there may be wax or oil on there, maybe stickers saying something about it having an alarm or Sirius XM radio. The other thing is on older vehicles, it's possible for dirt, grit, dog hair, your kid spilled milk on the window. We need all of that off before we start tinting, and there's no better tool than the razor blade. Now we've got the top part of the window prepped, we're gonna roll it up completely and prep the bottom. So now, all the way up to the top. You want to make sure that everything stays lubricated, so a little bit more of that slip solution. Right back with that razor blade, pushing the remaining slip solution down into the bottom gasket. Now it is important when we get these door panels wet, you don't want to let it set for too long. It's not going to do damage as long as you wipe it off shortly after. So I'm going to go back, wipe that door panel off. We don't want streaks. So now that we've got our window prepped and ready for the tint to be installed, we're going to get it all set up and ready. You're going to want to roll down the window so you have that 2.5 inch to 3 inch gap, but it's crucial that you quickly hit it up for a split second. What that does, the window has the tendency to shift on a downward motion. So if we were to install the pattern when that tint or the window was on the downward motion, the pattern may be off center when you roll the window up. So you always want to make sure the last motion the window was going was up. Now that the window's set at the proper height in an upward motion, we're going to grab our pattern and get it set up on the outside of the glass so we can transfer it to the inside. In between steps, make sure that you place your film in a clean place. A kitchen counter, if you prep a sliding glass door at your house or a window, you can also use that as a peel board to put your patterns on. We're gonna spray that slip solution over the outside of the glass. Now we're gonna put our pattern up there. You're gonna wanna set up your pattern. You don't want it all the way up to the top. You're gonna want it flat on one edge, the other edge will be hanging. Now that it's set up here, we're gonna do our final prep and squeegee to install the pattern on the inside. Now that we have our tint all set up properly on the outside of the glass, we're going to do our final squeegee and install the pattern. We're going to spray the window with our slip solution. We're gonna take our squeegee. You're gonna wanna make sure it has a clean blade. Wipe it off with your microfiber. Now, just like we squeegeed before, starting at one top corner, you're gonna go all the way over to the other edge, top to bottom, moving all of this water to the bottom gasket. Here's where one of the little foot cards that we sell on our website comes into play and is really handy. Same thing, you're gonna wanna clean off the edge, and you're gonna insert this into the gasket and push out the water that is in between the glass and the gasket where your squeegee can't get. Now that we have our final squeegee done, take your slip solution. You're gonna wanna saturate the window. Good, even coverage. Now we're gonna go to the outside of the window, peel the protective liner, and then install it on the inside. So you're gonna wanna spray the outside of the liner. It's gonna kill static electricity so we don't contaminate it. Spray your hand with water so no dry skin comes off in the tint. Now, there's gonna be a clear protective liner above the tint. You're gonna grab that, leaving the tint on the glass, and you're gonna pull away the protective liner. You don't wanna take it off. You peel it about halfway down. Now, it's very important to spray this exposed adhesive. You don't want anything to touch this right now. You're going to pick up the pattern and transfer it to the inside. It's easiest if you start with one edge, focus on getting that one edge in place, and then worry about the other. So I'm gonna start with this top right edge, top left. Get the tint flat on the glass, and we're gonna slide it back in that gasket. Now we've got this top edge nice and symmetrical. This other side's gonna fall into place. Take your time, get the tint where you want it. It's not a bad idea to look from the outside and make sure that you don't have a gap between the tint and the gasket. So now that we have the tint where we want it, we're gonna start at this top edge, moving all the way over to the other side. Now this is gonna set the tint. It may move a little bit, but it's grabbing on the glass now. And what we're gonna do is all of this excess water, we're gonna push out of the top. The next step, we roll the window up the remaining way. Now in between steps, it's a good idea to take your microfiber and wipe off any streaks or water that's starting to build up on this door panel. Now the window's rolled all the way up, the top edge is set, we're gonna peel carefully this tint up from the bottom, and you'll see this line. That line is where the tint has been set with the adhesive on the top part, but there's still the protective liner on the back. So we carefully fold it up, and this part of the window has to be prepped because that was below the gasket. So now we're going to take our slip solution, spray the remaining glass, taking your squeegee, wiping it off with your microfiber. Same thing, start at one side, all the way over to the other, and we're gonna be getting rid of all of this water, pushing it down into the gaskets. We're gonna go for our little foot card again. Back in the gasket, just getting any remaining water or contamination across the bottom edge, and then on this last gasket here. Now that we've got that clean, we're gonna re-wet it with our slip solution. You're going to carefully grab that clear plastic liner, and starting from one side, not all at once, just one side, we're going to hold the tint down with one hand and then pull the liner down with the other, exposing the remaining adhesive. You can see this liner. Put it inside of the car for now. Carefully peel up the tint, and we want to spray this exposed adhesive. Spray the glass. Okay, Now it's lying here, we've got to get this tucked back in each gasket and on the bottom. Here's where our Easy Reach triangle card really helps out. You can get this on our website. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the edge of the film. Now there's a gasket along the bottom. Sometimes it slides right in, other times it doesn't. That's where you get this. You're gonna insert it into that bottom gasket and peel it back and carefully rotate and slide that tint into this gasket here. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna push the tint up against the glass. We're gonna insert this down and pull back that gasket. And now we are gonna slide the tint back into that gasket. Now that it's in each side gasket, you can see that it's not fully inserted on the bottom gasket. So what we do is we take that Easy Reach card and we slowly slide it on the bottom. And as we're sliding it, we're tucking in any excess tint. Get your microfiber, dry off the door panel in between steps, and now we're moving on to our next step, getting rid of the excess water that's left behind. Now we take our slip solution, we mix the pattern one more time, you get your squeegee, and now we're gonna start moving. It's not as important side to side here, top to bottom's okay. So we're gonna go from here all the way to the bottom. And you're gonna wanna use a good amount of force. We're getting rid of all of the water now. Both hands, push, overlapping strokes, all the way to the bottom. We're gonna dry off the door panel again in between steps. And then once again, the little foot, it's a great tool for doing this. We will insert it into the gasket and we're gonna get rid of all of that water that's tucked back there. We're gonna do this side and now along the bottom. That's how you tint a roll-up. Now that you've tinted your car using one of our tint kits, we want you to use hashtag SMWTint and tag us. Post your videos and pictures on social media using @SaltyMotorworks.